Welcome to the Good Parent, Bad Parent podcast by Kenneth and Kenneth. Kenneth is on vacation, so I have a special guest, a good friend of mine. His name is Minh. That's M-I-N-H. Minh, welcome to the show. How you feeling today?
Thank you so much for allowing me to come in here and spend some time with you guys. I love Kenneth and Kenneth, watch you guys all the time. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that, fam. Well, look, let's get into it. Today's episode, we're going to talk about checking in on your friends and family, and we're going to talk a little bit about depression and why you need to check in on people. Minh, what are your thoughts on this topic and the importance of checking in on people?
I believe that many of us, go through some battles, personal battles that other people don't know about. A lot of people get up in the morning, they put a smile on their face, and they go about their day, and everything looks fine. But I think that a lot of people, have some personal battles. And so, me personally, I try to treat people with respect and kindness because you don't know what somebody's going through. And I don't want to be the reason that it tips them over.
Right. You know what? That's a very good point, a very valid point. Let me start off with a true story. I checked in on a close friend of mine and later found out that this person was about to commit suicide, and me checking in stopped them or prevented them from doing that. How important do you think that is, Minh? And if you had to guess, how do you think that person felt when they were right on the edge and someone checked in on them? What are your thoughts?
I tell you what, one of the leading causes or signs of depression is that when people start shutting down, they stop
Yeah.
reaching out to friends and family,
Oh
they
wow.
stop being social, and every now and then you'll have one of those friends where you talk to all the time, then all of a sudden you don't hear from them for a long time. You don't see them on social media. They don't never, text you or they don't return your texts. Pick up the phone and call those people because they're going through something. And when you call them, it makes a difference because in their mind, part of depression is it's a voice in their head that's telling them that no one cares. No one's checking in on them. They don't matter. That's not true. When you call, that's letting them know that's not true. That I care, I love you, and I'm there for you. And that's the difference that it makes when you check in on somebody.
You made some good points. You're talking about being proactive and checking in and looking for those signs, because sometimes we can get caught up in our own lives with our families, our work, and everything else, and we're not paying attention to other family members and friends. That, just like you said, I was sitting here thinking, wow, you said if a person suddenly just drops off the map, you don't see them post. This person used to post every day, and now they stop posting. They used to text you or call, then they just stop, just cold turkey. You're right. A lot of people need to pay attention to that, and I'm one of them. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because, yeah, I wasn't thinking on that level. Excellent point. Let me switch gears here.
Okay.
Let's talk facts. According to Google, approximately 49,000 Americans die by suicide each year. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, there were 48,824 suicide deaths in the most recent year reported, which equates to an adjusted rate of 13.7 deaths per 100,000 people. Now, men, account for approximately 79% of all suicides and have a suicide death rate nearly 4 times higher than females. Although females have smaller numbers, we must check in on them too. If you had to guess, men, why do you think that the numbers are higher for men versus women?
So this is what I feel because men are supposed to be the protector, the
Yeah.
strong one in the relationship.
Right.
And a lot of men, because the statistic is so high, studies have shown that, men keep it inside of them because they don't want to look like they're weak. They don't
Oh,
want family members to call them, not strong enough or
right.
not being a man in general.
Okay.
And when they keep it bottled in them, the struggle builds up. And
Right.
sometimes, like the statistics you just mentioned, that's 133 people a day in the United States. That's a
Wow.
750,000 people worldwide. So there's a lot of men that are cracking because no one checked in on them. No one told them, hey, you got this. I'm here for you. We're going to get through this together. And
Right.
when they hear that, that's strength, to them, coming to them. So
Well, let me ask you this question. Um, the major change that I can tell as far as like let's say in the last 50 years since the numbers have skyrocketed is the internet. What effect do you think that the internet has on relationships? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it leading to some of this depression that we're seeing and divorce and separation and suicide? Do you think that the internet plays a part at all?
that's a great question, Kenneth. Actually, I believe that it does because there's an old saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And a
Okay.
lot of people, they look into the social media, they've seen people that supposedly have perfect lives. They're
Right.
happy, they have all the material things, all the social things that they would
Okay.
ever want. And they compare themselves to those people. And when you do that, it's never good for your conscience because you're thinking, wow, I'm not doing so well in life. I
Right.
should be doing like them. And a lot of people let that, overtake their lives by comparing to others.
You're talking
And
about keeping up with the Joneses?
yes, sir. And if you just live the life the way you want to live it and find the joy the way you believe you can find it, and nothing else matters, that's going to go a long ways in your life.
Right. I mean, that's true because I saw this guy on social media that I know was posting a picture of himself walking off of a private jet, but I noticed that all of the lights inside the jet were off.
Yes,
Okay, which
yes, sir.
indicates that that's fake, that he was not taking a private jet flight, that he was just fronting. And I'm sure someone saw that picture and was like, "Oh, wow, look, this guy's doing great and I'm just over here doing this." You can't
Yes, sir.
compare yourself to other people because it
Correct.
will rob you of your joy. And plus, most people are faking anyway and fronting anyway. All that stuff isn't real. All this stuff on the internet is not real. Isn't that right, man?
I totally agree, Kenneth. And think about it.
Uh huh.
On the holidays, these people are spending time posting pictures, looking for validation on social media, while
Right.
the people that are actually happy are spending time with their families.
Right.
So it's a big difference.
Now, I wanted to switch gears again and talk about something that I see happening in the future. Um, AI relationships. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of that. Yeah, it's starting to emerge on social media. Tell me about it,
Yeah.
Kenneth.
Well, it says here AI relationship adoption is surging globally with the search for AI girlfriend alone growing by 2,400% between 2022 and 2026. Global website traffic to AI companion originates from 142 countries, with the US, Brazil, and Indonesia driving the highest overall volume. So people are starting to have relationships with AI because, of course, they can make them extremely visually pleasing and you can kind of custom tailor it to what you like. So we're seeing a trend in that. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think would happen if technology was able to create, I guess, androids that were extremely human-like, that could be custom tailored? Do you think that would cause a breakdown between normal, organic men and women having relationships if people could just simply purchase a AI, real physical human being that was like a regular human? What do you think? How do you think it would affect everything?
I think it would affect the social economics
Okay.
drastically because you
Right.
can't replace human interaction. Like the reason that, when we stay active, we're happy.
Hmm.
You go and do things. You go to the library, you go to a party, family
Right.
party or barbecue or any kind of function. Take the kayak out to the lake, meet people, whatever it
Hmm.
is. You're not going to replace human interaction. And these people that are relying on AI for relationships, they're sitting at home on their couch behind a screen trying to develop a relationship that's not real. And
Right.
that's, to me, in the long run, that's not good for you, you know. And
Right.
then when they meet people in person, they don't have any social skills. They're awkward, you know.
That is true.
So I think that meeting people in person, in real life, doing things, is the best way to go.
Absolutely. And, I think that social media has completely destroyed everything because now it seems like women expect men to be, you have to be over 6 foot, which most of the population is not. Okay. You have to be rich. Okay. You have to have all of these things and live like a rock star so that this woman can be taken care of and not have to do anything else ever again except exist. Right.
Yes,
And of course, not all women think like that. But if you go on social media, there's no shortage of videos of females saying this.
correct,
That
correct.
can be proven very, very easily. All
Yes,
right. So, and for the women, a part of it is that some men expect for them to have this beauty standard that's just unrealistic, right? Not everyone is
correct,
going to look like a model. And with all these filters and things that you can put on social media to enhance your appearance, this is what people expect. And then they see a person live and they're like, wait a minute, this isn't the same person. And then they end up ghosted or, whatever happens, happens. It's just,
correct.
I think we need to get technology out of relationships and start getting back to meeting people organically and dealing with people on that level from that perspective. Now, one of the main reasons that men commit suicide, according to Google, I'm getting all this information from online. It
Yes,
says men are highly vulnerable to life transitions such as job loss, divorce, or retirement, especially when traditional male stereotypes tie their self worth heavily to being able to provide for their family. Do you think that men are heavily judged on how they provide, how much money they have?
absolutely. Going back to what I said about social media, how
Right,
women are setting the standards on what they're looking for, the unrealistic standards.
right,
Um, like for instance, if I focus too much on that, I'm not 6 feet, so I'd be stressed out about that. But
right,
because it's all about what's in the heart, you know, the heart is where you find the beauty, and you find the courage, and you find the power, you know, to be a great human being. And I believe that if somebody gets to know you, and in order to do that, you can't sit behind a screen and talk to AI. You got to go out
right,
there and meet people, and you give them the opportunity to get to know you. And then once they get to know how beautiful you are inside, they start to overlook all the other little things, which is
right.
what you had just mentioned, you know.
Yeah.
But the unrealistic expectations that are set upon some men do lead to depression, and a lot of them tap out because they think, oh, I can't meet all the check boxes, I'm going to be a failure. Don't
Right.
men, don't let that happen. You're everybody's got some beautiful beauty inside of them.
Right.
Everybody's got some great God-given gifts.
Right.
So take advantage of that. You're a great person. Find that.
Absolutely. I agree with that statement completely. Let's talk about the women. One of the main reasons women commit suicide is emotional trauma and abuse. High rates of intimate partner violence, sexual assault, and childhood abuse are critical risk factors. These traumatic experiences frequently lead to PTSD, isolation, and overwhelming sense of powerlessness. Now, these are some of the things that women deal with. And yeah, it's a terrible thing. And, all of you women out there, you do have value. You are loved. You are cared for. It's just that I think that for everyone, we just need to start getting together and working as a team and not working against each other. And, if men can start relating to women and women can start relating to men on a normal level, not on a superficial level, I think that the world can start healing. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but it's the honest truth. What are your thoughts, men?
Yeah, Kenneth, you bring up a great point. Now, this is not all about about men, you know,
Mhm.
struggling with depression. Women do too. You know, you
Absolutely.
women out there, when you see on social media these women that look like they had everything they would ever want, look like they can have any guy they want. That's not true. Some of these influencers, as you call them, are some of the loneliest people out there.
Right.
They can't live without validation. Now, once you learn to love yourself for who you are, and then understand that life is more than about materialistic things, then you're going to understand that it's going to be easier to find happiness. And if you're not looking for validation, then you're looking for happiness. I would rather look for happiness, to be honest. So don't worry about what you see on social media. As you can see, some of these people come and go. These influencers aren't there forever because they burn out trying to look for
Right.
validation.
Now, let me ask you this, man. Have you ever known anyone that committed suicide and how much damage it does to the surviving family? Have you ever saw that or have you ever experienced it?
I have. I had a friend that I was starting to develop a good relationship with, and we used to go out and play basketball all the time and just talk about life. And he had a really positive outlook on life, good head on his shoulders.
Right.
And then just one day, he just stopped taking my calls, stopped returning my calls, and I was kind of worried, and I'd actually stop by to check on him, and come to find out that he's gone. His wife said he was gone. He had given up on life, and it really really devastated me because I felt guilty that I wasn't there for him. Even I mean, I tried my best, but I didn't try hard enough. And I think if you check up on your friends,
Right.
don't give up on it. Don't make one or two calls. Keep checking up on their relatives and their, wives or kids or whatever. Make sure they're okay because they may not know either. And you
Right.
raise that red flag might actually save their life.
Wow. Now, how did his death affect his family?
His daughter, especially, it devastated her. It felt they felt like they were robbed of the joy in their life by losing him.
Right.
And I think for all you guys that have thought about it, that have gotten to the level where you would actually do it, please understand that it's a selfish move because you're not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting others.
Right.
And the pain, I've seen people that have lost someone to suicide over 20 years later, they're still hurting. The wounds are still fresh. So understand that this Kenneth, here's let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
When I was struggling, when I was going through a dark place, um, my daughter had a hamster, and the hamster's lifespan is only about 2 years.
Okay.
And when I was thinking to myself, hey, you know what? If I wasn't here anymore, no one would even notice. No one would care. But one day I heard my daughter crying and screaming and just it was a painful sound. It was the worst
Right.
sound ever. And I go upstairs and she has her dying hamster in her hand.
Right.
And I said to myself, if a little tiny creature can cause that much pain, imagine what I would cause
Right.
if I was to do something foolish. So that that
That's
woke that
true.
woke me up, Kenneth.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who like a brother to me, his son committed suicide and it destroyed all of us. I mean, it was a very terrible thing. I tried to check in on him and, the last time I saw him, we made a video and, we had a nice time. Now, the thing is, it's been a little over 2 years and his father does not have a moment of peace. So as men stated, you know, it's a selfish move because you're not thinking about how it's going to affect others. His family still misses him. They post, stuff on his birthday. They still post stuff online about him because they are destroyed. I mean, his father a grown man crying, because he misses his son. So anyone out there, or if you're watching this video, please consider yourself and consider other people as well, and for everyone watching, please check in on people. Make sure that you pick up the phone. Make sure that you're paying attention. If someone drops offline, check in on them. I had a friend who just dropped offline. She was posting all the time, so I checked in on her. Fortunately, she was okay, but I noticed that she had dropped offline, so I just checked in. Now, the bottom line is this, we can't be so selfish and be so wrapped up into our own thing. We got to think about other people. In closing, would you like to make any closing statements, man, before we end this episode?
Absolutely, Kenneth. Kenneth, you brought up some good points, and like I said, those telltale signs when people just that are usually social that shut down. You don't hear from them. There's no hard feelings. There's nothing that you did that caused that. Check on those people and be persistent about it. Don't feel bad about constantly calling and trying to get a hold of somebody because at the end of the day, you could be saving their life. Somebody could be sitting there contemplating doing something tonight, but then your call interrupted it and changed the whole aspect of it. So,
Right.
and also just understand that, there's help out there. You can call 988. It's a hotline that the government has set up by the health administration, and there's people there that can talk to you. There's nothing
Right.
nothing that's going to be held against you.
Right. So everyone, forward this video to someone because everyone needs to know that all life has value, and that includes yours. And if you have anything that you want to share with us, you can go to usingmyvoice.com where there's instructions on how you can share your story with us. And you never know, your story may lead to someone else's breakthrough. So, men, thank you for being on the show. And this is a wrap. Everyone, we'll see you next time.
All right.